My fellow New Yorkers, this year marks a historic occasion, our city's 400th anniversary. For 4 centuries, we have faced our share of challenges, but one thing has remained constant. New York City has always been a place of hope, a destination for people from all over the world striving for a better future, one in which they can get ahead and finally achieve the American dream. Our administration proudly supports that tradition by delivering every day and everywhere for working class New Yorkers. As we make New York City the best place to raise a family, we have driven crime down by seizing nearly 20,000 illegal guns removed, 80,000 ghost cars and other illegal vehicles off our streets, and shut down more than 1,300 unlicensed cannabis stores. We have stimulated the creation of a record number of jobs and new small businesses and put billions of dollars back into the pockets of working class New Yorkers. Thanks to our efforts, New York City economy is booming, and we continue to deliver a safer and more affordable city. None of this would be possible without our strong, forward-thinking fiscal management and our strategic investments. Strong fiscal management is a touchstone of this administration, and it is key to New York City's success and long-term prosperity. The steps we took to achieve savings, combined with revenues from a robust economy, enable us to balance fiscal years 2025 and 2026 budgets. Because we set the table for success, we were able to ensure the continuity of critical programs, as well as make strategic new investments in public safety, affordability, and quality of life that benefit working class New Yorkers. Since 2022, New York City has spent more than $6.9 billion to care for nearly 230,000 asylum seekers. The proactive steps taken by our administration to put asylum seekers on the path to self-sufficiency, together with changes in federal border policies that we vigorously advocated for, contribute to a reduction in the number of migrants in our care. These measures successfully reduced the number of asylum seekers in our care from a high of 69,000 in January 2024 to under 50,000 today. Our two-step approach generated savings of $2.4 billion, $1.1 billion in fiscal year 25 and $1.3 billion in fiscal year 26. We were able to balance the fiscal year 2026 budget due to the savings we achieved, as well as the strength of our national and local economies. While national economic indicators are generally positive, we expect the nation's strong economic growth to slow from 2.7% in 2024 to 2% in 2025. Corporate profits are at a record levels, up over 50% since 2019. Wall Street profits will continue to rise in 24 and 25, and the S&P index soared to a record high in December. Inflation is slowing nationwide, and we expect inflation in our region to dip below the national rate by the middle of 2025. However, though the U.S. labor markets continue to expand, the pace of growth is slowing. Our city's economy is booming thanks to the steps we have taken to make our city safer, cleaner, and more affordable. The job market continues to expand, and the city is gaining jobs at a faster pace than the state or country. Unemployment has dropped in all demographics across groups across the 5 boroughs. Almost 350,000 jobs have been created under our administration, outpacing 46 states combined over the same period. We also achieved a high of 4.8 million private and public sector jobs. That is more total jobs than ever before in our city's history. Our city welcomed more than 64 million tourists in 2024, which is the second highest number in our city's history. And we expect tourism to surpass pre-pandemic levels this year. Despite a strong economy, we remain cautious. The real estate market is slowing since interest rates remain high, and housing market activity is subdued. But we do anticipate a slow recovery as interest rates decrease. While commercial office vacancies remain stubbornly high, we project they have peaked this year. In addition, we cannot anticipate the impacts of the incoming federal administration on our city. We do not know how new trade, immigration, regulatory, fiscal, or grant funding policies will affect New Yorkers. So we must remain vigilant and carefully monitor the effects of the new administration's actions. Our strong fiscal management and the steps we have taken to keep New York City safe, affordable, and clean have resulted in strong economic growth and stability for our city's budget. We will remain a steady course and continue our responsible approach to that we can build on the services, programs, and initiatives that New Yorkers need and deserve. The fiscal year preliminary budget is balanced at $114.5 billion. We closed a $5.5 billion fiscal year budget gap with a combination of savings and new revenue. This includes making a $2.3 billion prepayment from fiscal year 25 to fiscal year 26, which we are able to achieve thanks to careful management of the city resources. We also reduced out-year gaps below their November 2024 financial plan levels to $4.2 billion in fiscal year 27 and $5.4 billion in fiscal year 28 and $5.1 billion in fiscal year 29. This is the second consecutive plan where we have driven budget gaps downward. We revised our tax revenues upward compared to the 2024 November financial plan update. Gains were driven by growth in business taxes that were fueled by strong Wall Street performances, which we expect to continue in 25 and 26. The city's thriving economy reflects our administration's focus on policies that make New York City a great place to live, work, and raise a family. However, our city's single largest source of revenue, property tax, remains subdued throughout the plan. To be clear, despite claims that some might make, our forecasts are on par with or even more optimistic than most independent monitors. As you can see on the chart, this includes forecasts made by the City Council, the Independent Budget Office, and the City Comptroller. We achieved $2.7 billion in citywide savings over 2 fiscal years without cutting services, laying off hardworking city employees, or raising taxes by a single penny. In addition, we reduced pension costs by just over $270 million and the labor reserve by $400 million over the 2 years. Also, as I discussed earlier, our proactive steps and strong fiscal management drove savings of $2.4 billion on asylum seeker care. Thanks to the savings we achieved and revenue growth, we have been able to apply almost $1.2 billion to protect critical services that benefit our working class families and their children. These include more than $550 million to meet the increasing costs of sheltering the homeless population, and additional $125 million in city FEPS rental assistance, the city's primary rental assistance program to help working class New Yorkers find and keep housing. A total of more than $200 million to make sure every public school has a nurse in the building, and more than $64 million for affordable housing with supportive services in place for individuals and families who are homeless or at risk of homelessness. We also address over $500 million of state and federally mandated program costs, including $241 million in additional funds to cover fiscal year 25 payments to the MTA, almost $139 million for increased state-mandated reimbursement costs for foster parents, adoptive parents, and kinship guardians, $87 million in tuition for charter school students, and more than $55 million on early intervention programs to provide support and services for infants and toddlers with developmental delays and disabilities. Our support of these critical programs reflects our commitment to working class New Yorkers and their families. Maintaining budget reserves as a safeguard against the unexpected is a critical part of our administration's responsible financial management. And that is why our reserves are at a record high for our city. Our general reserves are over $1 billion. Our rainy day fund is at $2 billion. Retiree Health Benefits Trust is at $5 billion. And our capital stabilization reserve is at $250 million. Our fiscal year 26 investments focus on key areas that are vital to making New York City the best place to live, work, and raise a family. We continue our commitment to keeping communities safe, making New York City more affordable, improving the quality of life for New Yorkers, investing in our children's education, and boosting our city's economic recovery. Let's start with our North Star. From upstream solutions in education, career development, and housing, to violence interrupters, removing illegal guns, and increased police presence on our streets and in our subway, our administration have left no stone unturned when it comes to keeping all New Yorkers safe. As I discussed in last week's State of the City address, we are launching an ambitious multi-year approach to address homelessness and help those suffering from serious mental illness move off our streets and subways and into housing. Our fiscal year 2026 preliminary budget commits $137 million to that effort. This includes funding for 900 new safe haven beds that have proven highly effective at transitioning New Yorkers into permanent housing. We're also increasing outreach to individuals suffering from serious mental illness in all 5 boroughs, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, so that they can receive the care they need and transition off the streets. We are launching an innovative new program, Bridge to Home, that provides New Yorkers suffering from serious mental illness with psychiatric and substance abuse treatment and help to secure permanent housing. And we are adding 100 additional shelter beds for runaway homeless youth to bring the total number to 913. We have also announced a new goal. No child should ever be born into our shelter system. So we are launching a pilot program to help expecting families find housing. Together, it is important that these new investments will help our city tackle homelessness by connecting unsheltered New Yorkers with serious mental illness to care and housing and keeping families out of shelter. We are making upstream investments for New Yorkers who need them, like improving the infrastructure at the Woodhall Outpost Unit, a secure clinical facility to treat patients in custody that follows the jail-based therapeutic model. We are enhancing Department of Correction recruiting efforts with targeted advertising campaigns, and in-person events so that we can fill vacant positions. We are bolstering security for staff and detainees by making improvements at Department of Corrections facilities. We are also keeping New Yorkers safe on our streets and in our waters by improving road safety at hundreds of targeted traffic intersections and adding more lifeguards to our rosters so we can deliver swim lessons to more of our young people. Making New York City more affordable is key to making it a great place to live, work, and raise a family. I know this from my personal experience. My mother worked multiple jobs just to be able to make ends meet, and our administration is unwavering in its commitment to lift up working-class New Yorkers and make sure that families like mine can get ahead. That is why we created, fought for, and passed the historic City of Yes for Housing Opportunity Plan, the most pro-housing proposal in New York City's history. Our $5 billion investment in this generational plan will create 80,000 new homes over the next 15 years and ensure that every New Yorker has a roof over their heads, turning New York City into a city of yes for families. And because we know that extra money in your pocket can make all the difference when it comes to essential expenses like food, rent, and school supplies, we launched our ambitious Axe the Tax for the Working Class, which puts in at an average of $350 million into the pockets of eligible families, helping 582,000 New Yorkers. We're calling on Albany to include our proposal in the fiscal year 2026 state budget. We are investing in legal service to proactively engage tenants who are being harassed by their landlords. We're also investing in our home support unit, which helps New Yorkers secure vacant apartments through rental subsidy programs. And because becoming a parent is a joyous occasion, we want to make sure that families who are expanding capacity for the Fatherhood Initiative to be able to participate in it. This will help fathers strengthen relationships with their children. We're also maintaining funding for monthly jobs, NYC hiring halls in communities experiencing high unemployment, and supporting an initiative that works with low-income New Yorkers to prepare them for apprenticeships in the building trades. A roof over your head, a job, extra money in your pocket, help when you become a new parent. All these things will make raising a family in New York City easier. And we cannot forget quality of life. A great quality of life is priceless and benefits all New Yorkers. We want everyone to enjoy clean and welcoming parks, vibrant cultural institutions and rec centers, and healthy tree-lined neighborhoods. That is why we are introducing a second cleaning shift at more than 100 hotspots, over 64 parks, hiring additional staff to tend to approximately 4,000 tree beds across the 5 boroughs to reduce the rat population and keep our urban forests healthy, and opening additional schoolyards to the public after school on weekends and during the summer to put 20,000 more New Yorkers within a 10-minute walk of a park. We're also adding 5 new members to our cultural institutions group so that they can receive operating support from the city, adding 54 staff to the new Shirley Chisholm Recreational Center in East Flatbush to help underserved neighbors make the best use of this state-of-the-art facility. And we are supporting neighborhood development initiatives throughout the city to encourage graffiti removal, streetscape beautification, and public art projects. Even as we invest in quality of life, we must also remember our young people whose education happens in and out of school 365 days of the year. So we continue to support our in-demand summer rising program and have been able to restore extended hours and Friday programming for about 30,000 20,000 middle schoolers. We also extended support for our Learning to Work program, which helps students who have fallen behind earn a high school diploma and prepare for college and their careers. And we are expanding our Pathways program to provide additional career readiness opportunities to students at New York City public schools. In addition, we are funding multiple programs that help young New Yorkers learn, work, and develop independent living skills, including financial education that will be critical to ensuring young New Yorkers can invest in their futures. Over the next decade, we will invest $170 billion to make our city safer, more affordable, and the best place to raise a family. We will improve infrastructure, including roads, bridges, schools, water and sewer facilities, libraries, and transportation system across the 5 boroughs. The plan includes $36.5 billion for the environment and sanitation, over $32 billion for transportation, $24.5 billion for affordable housing, close to $24 billion for schools, almost $16 billion for the Department of Corrections and NYPD, and more than $37 billion for other city services, including parks and recreation and our cultural institutions and libraries. Our administration fiscal year 2026 budget reflects our priorities, maintaining strong fiscal responsibility so that we can protect critical programs, fund generational housing, tackle homelessness and serious mental health, invest in our children's education, and improve the quality of life for New Yorkers. Our administration is working hard every day and everywhere to deliver for working class New Yorkers and make New York City the best place to raise a family. Thank you.